Hello and welcome to Thoughts from our Tree. Today I am in this lovely tree here. Got some beautiful surroundings around me. Check out that. And we are at a pretty decent spot here. Sun is out, everything's lovely. Let's talk. So this week's Thoughts from a Tree. Let's first of all just put a mention towards that whole round health. Let's get that in there just to say, remember that being healthy kind of leads to everything else working in its right way. So kind of remembering those aspects of health. Get out and move. You don't need to train, but you need to move, okay? First and foremost. So, just getting those daily walks in, getting that sunlight in as well. Even when it's not that sunny, but right now it is. So get out there and get that sun, because it'll make you feel better, it'll give you energy, it'll make you more productive. Everything will become better if you are getting out, walking and in that sunlight. Nutrition wise, just be aware of what makes you feel good and what doesn't, okay? So being mindful of that. When you eat something, does it give you energy? Does it make you feel the same, or does it make you feel worse? If it's the same and better, brilliant. If it's the worse, then we know we need to get that out. Same 3 hours later, are you suddenly craving more food, or suddenly having an energy low, or suddenly feeling a bit ropey? It's probably something to do with what you've just eaten before. So just be aware of how you're feeling in and around food. Environment, get out there, see some grass, see some trees, see some water. Get a dip in some water, kind of take all those benefits. Just taking that aspect of thinking my health is important, I deserve to have the best health, and everything will be better if I am at the best health I can be. Good. Talking about being at the best you can be. This one goes on a little bit about mind, I suppose, because we didn't just mention mind in those healthy benefits. So with the mind aspect, on this, being the best you can be, I want to talk about competing. Now, if you are a competitor, an athlete, or kind of a competitor in anything, then, you're going to have to be competitive. And I'm not in the slightest thing saying here that being competitive is bad. Okay, it helps, and it helps in very good situations. But my issue is this whole thing became about, so in fitness classes, you're competing against other people in the class. Sometimes useful, a lot of the time not so useful, because you're not kind of focusing on what is the most important bit of what you're doing. Then you've got that aspect of when people started, and it's that key message of the only person you should be competing against is yourself. Which I just find, and I've said this before, I just find it to be one of the weirdest thought processes that you could hold whilst you're trying to get fitter and healthier. To compete against yourself is very much saying that, you're splitting yourself up. You're saying that you are trying to beat who you were. And if you don't beat who you were, that's some sort of negative thing, when it's not, because it was you. So the aspect of competing against yourself and beating yourself, I just don't feel that's a great way to focus on what is the important aspect. Now, what is key is bettering yourself or maintaining your prime health, and doing what's needed for that. This takes that aspect to, rather than killing yourself and obliterating yourself to always beat who you previously were, you are now just trying to better yourself. And this takes it into a nice element of, well, what does bettering yourself mean? Because if you are really fit and strong, do you keep needing to kill yourself to keep getting fitter and stronger? What is the usefulness of that? So you've got to kind of look into that and say, well, why am I doing it? Or to better yourself, would it be that actually probably pre or post workout, I just need to have a little moment, like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, just preparing the mind, or kind of de-stressing a little bit after the workouts? Do I need to change where I'm working out? Do I need to get outdoors? Would that better the situation? Would that make it better? Do I need to take some time off and rest from the workout situation and just be a bit more free and just get out and move a bit and open up a bit of freestyle movement? So we kind of open up aspects. You're not so focused on always competing with yourself and beating yourself. You're focusing on bettering yourself in the nature of health and fitness. So I mean, that's kind of the element, the message I want to get across here is probably stop focusing on so much competing against yourself, because in the end you're only going to end up really starting to hurt yourself, because there's only so far you can go in that kind of mindset before it starts to hurt. And I'm talking from experience here. I've been there, you know. I'm like serious dark places when I'm working out, where I'm just trying to beat everybody. I'm trying to beat, you know, myself. I'm trying to beat all the people around me. I'm trying to beat people that are working out somewhere else. I'm trying to beat people that are competing, that I might be competing against in the future. I'm trying to beat kind of past negativity and thoughts that are in my head. All those darknesses used to come into it, and it's not a great place. It gets to a really horrible place, and relieving yourself from that and just thinking about how do I better myself is a new way to look at that health and fitness area. But being said, if you are kind of at a point where you're competing, where that's kind of fun for you, or you're earning money off it, or you're winning competition, then that's fine. Okay, do that because it's that fun element. But just be aware that you need time out from that as well. But you can still work and you can still train and you can still play around without being at that kind of kill yourself competitiveness. So yeah, just focus on bettering yourself for a little while. There's something else that popped into my head a couple of minutes ago and it's popped back out. But yeah, if I can kind of just put any message across, I just think the next time you are just doing a bit of training or fitness, just kind of release yourself from it all and just focus on focus on what's important within the sessions. So if you're constantly going up against the time or rounds or reps or weight, then you're focusing on the number. You're focusing on, it's not even an outcome, it's just a numerical value of the outcome, and that is what you're focusing on. So you're not actually focused on the things that create that numerical outcome. And I see this all the time. I've been in the CrossFit world for quite a bit, and I saw it more recently in the last little bit of in-gym stuff I did, with the kind of whiteboard mentality, and people saying, well, I need that whiteboard because to come in and not have that, I don't know what anybody else has done. And it's like, well, does that matter? Do you need to know what they've done? Because I feel like you should be focusing more on your health and fitness than just beating the numerical value that somebody else has done. And you know, you're not going to change everybody, and I understand that, and if that's you, then that's fine, to a point. But at some point you might need to look back at this and think health and fitness is not that numerical value. It's something that's within, and you need to focus on what you do without that creates that health within, not that numerical value that means very little really, and is not going to really get you mindful of what you're doing and what you're achieving. So that's thoughts from a tree. As always, I hope that made sense to you guys. A lot of this is just thoughts in my head that are whirling round, but I think it should be a benefit, and I just think maybe every so often get away from it, get yourself outdoors, play around a bit, and just focus on what you're actually doing. Put a bit of focus on that, put a bit of focus on your surrounding areas, how you're interacting with your surrounding areas, you know, what things feel like in the moments that you're doing them. Even if you're in the gym, you know, when you go to set up for a lift on a bar, how does that feel? What's the moment? You know, what's your brain thinking? What's your body doing? What position are you in? What are the key aspects you're going to get that point, rather than just thinking what's the weight on the bar and just like rag it up there. So that's thoughts from a tree today. Have a great weekend, because it is so beautiful. And yeah, check out some of the stuff that I'm posting on Instagram, stuff for kind of just little movement patterns that might be helpful to start to look into this slightly different way of, or more health and fitness way of training, rather than that competitive way of training, or that kind of beat yourself, compete against yourself way of training. Yes, big love to you all. Have a good weekend.